Hey everybody, KC here. So I hope you've enjoyed the thing I've been doing the last few weeks is after I've been interviewing people on a variety of subjects, some of them very business oriented and some of them not. I've been asking those folks in a slightly different segment, who was the best leader they ever worked for? Case of Mike Lupica, who was the best coach he ever saw? That kind of stuff. I think these are interesting little bite-sized nuggets that tell us something about leadership, the difference between leadership and management, and give us some really interesting anecdotes to think about. So today, I want to share with you what Errol Schweizer, the podcaster, food activist, told me about the best leaders he'd ever seen. So enjoy. So Errol Schweitzer, I'm curious, who's the best leader you ever worked for, worked with, or was exposed to through your work?
I've got a couple. I want to first dedicate this to my friend Jay Brito, who passed away about almost 10 years ago now. Jay was my mentor and boss at Bronx House JCC on Pelham Parkway, where I grew up. Jay committed suicide. Jay, we didn't know was gay and had dealt with rampant homophobia and other health and mental health problems. And Jay pretty much raised me throughout my teenage years. I met him when I was 11 or 12, and I had been working out in the gym, with my 5-pound dumbbells when I'm, 12 years old. And he came up to me in the gym and said, "Hey, buddy, are you done with your workout yet?" And I was like, did this adult just talk to me in a serious way, like assume that I'm actually working out? I'm impressed. I will be friends with this guy. And he ended up being my boss for the next several years as I worked around the JCC. And Jay was really good at motivating people. He was a basketball coach. He was very active in youth athletics, was very much a jock. I'm not, I never was. But I remember one day I was working the desk job at Bronx House, where you check people's cards as they come in the door. And I took it very seriously, as a 14-year-old. And he dropped a pile of envelopes and papers on my desk saying, "I need you to fold and stuff all this stuff by the time you leave today." And I just gave him such a hard time. I moaned. I was like, "Come on, I'm busy, I'm working." And he just pulled me aside. He was like, "Look, let's think of one thing you need to do in life. This is a lesson for you forever, is get the shit out of the way that you hate doing first so that you can go on and do the stuff that you do enjoy." And it's stuck with me because, especially being in retail and food and service, it's like there's always so much crap that you got to deal with, and you get that stuff out of the way so you can move on to the fun stuff. And then the other person I want to really appreciate is the guy who helped make my career at Whole Foods Market. His name was Perry Abenante. He went on to become the VP of marketing of Pretzel Crisps and do a whole bunch of other stuff. And we're still good friends. Perry and me were a very dangerous duo, in that we're both very blunt, straight talking, not always the friendliest people when you meet with us at first, but he was also one of the most loyal people I had ever met. And so first time I met Perry was in the aisles where I was stocking. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you have this salsa? I'm looking for this salsa." And I said, "You know what? I noticed we've been out of stock of that too, because I buy that salsa as well. And I'll double check." And I went to the back room. I went to our back stock, checked the back stock. We were out of the salsa, left a note for the buyer to reorder the salsa. At the time, I was like a assistant manager or something. And I came back out and he said, "Oh, well, what's your name?" And we actually started talking. He said, "I just wanted to thank you for that customer service, because like I ask all the time and people don't know. And, I get very frustrated. So I have to go to Central Market up the street. And, this is a guy who was working at Whole Foods, having to go to our competitor." So obviously the first lesson is good customer service and good replenishment. The second lesson for me was just like, he was a guy who was willing to talk and mentor. And within a couple of months, he had asked me if I wanted to take a regional buyer job. And I ended up going up to the Northeast to become the regional buyer and then regional director for the New York, New Jersey region of Whole Foods Market. So Perry Abenante, he's a mensch.
And all because you went to look for salsa. I mean, it's the stuff
Yeah.
like that young people have to know, right? You know, stuff the envelopes, go look for the salsa, do those. It's the little things that almost always add up to something bigger.
Yeah. And I need to point out, this is why you can't have automation and algorithms doing everything. You need people on the floor. You need people doing work, and you need to give them, the opportunities to advance and succeed.
Great lessons, Errol. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.